I am sick and tired of high schoolers not knowing what decimals mean. I'm going to try to demystify, take the mystery out of decimals once and for all. Go to write a decimal point. Going to put a space holder here, a space holder here. Go 2 here, 3. We'll go to the 4th decimal to the right. Underneath this one, I'm going to put whole number. Whole number here. Underneath this, going to put an arrow here. This is a tenths place. Hundredths. Thousandths. Ten thousandths. And the fraction gets smaller and smaller. We'll just stop at the 10 thousandths for my little lecture here. Yeah. A lot of you guys are young adults now, and you need to know what decimals mean. Next to the words here, watch this. I'm going to put in red. The tenths place just means some fraction. Look at it. Underneath the tenths, going to put some fraction over 10. That's all tenths mean. Hundredths means, look at, put a question mark, some fraction over 100. Thousandths means some fraction, look at, over 1,000. And 10,000 means some fraction, we don't know, over 10,000. They're just code language for fractions. I'm going to put example 1. What is 0.73 as a fraction? How would I write 0.73 as a fraction? Why over 100? So watch this now. 0.73 is it's like a code language for a fraction. All you got to do is look at the last number to the right and look at what decimal place it's in. Notice it's in the second decimal place, which would be the hundredths. So if I want to make a decimal into a fraction, look at what I'm going to do. I'll just write 73. And this is a hundredths place. So that means it's a fraction out of 100. So 0.73 and 73 hundredths mean the same thing. Think of my Michael Jordan example from this morning. There's just 2 different ways of saying the same thing. Michael Jordan and Air Jordan refer to Michael Jordan. 73 out of 100 and 0.73 refer to the same amount. It's just code language for fractions. That's all it is. I want to get the mystery out of it. Get the mystery out of decimals. It's just fractions. For lazy people who don't want to write fractions, put 0.73. That means 7,300. Example 2. I'm going to put EX2. I'm going to write 2.009 as a fraction. 2.009 as a fraction. So let's see. What place is that, Iwanovich? What place is the 2? The 2 is in the whole numbers. So look what I'm going to do. I'll write 2, and I'm going to write a fraction next to it, because that's 2 wholes. And now the fraction next to it, I'm looking at the place that the 9 is in. Munoz, what place would the 9 be in? The thousands. Look at the third place. So look at this. This is going to be 2 and 9 thousandths. It's just code language for fractions. Get it right. Get it straight. You guys are adults now. Take the mystery out of what the decimals mean. It's just fractions. Another way of writing a fraction. Okay, cool. Really quick before the bell rings, watch this now. Question so far? Now, on your notes, going to write fractions. I'm going to put 2 arrows, one going to the left, one going to the right. I'm going to write percent here, and then decimal here. Okay. How do you go from a fraction to a percent or a fraction to a decimal? Let's say the fraction of 1/4. Let's take 1/4 and change it into percent. Okay? Here's what we do. Watch this. Just take 1/4 equals x out of 100, huh? Remember the proportion I taught you this morning? 1 out of 4 equals x out of 100. Because x out of 100 means percent. Remember, percent literally means out of 100. And what do you do when you have a proportion now? How do you solve for x here? What's the shortcut? Cross multiply. So if you weren't here this morning, you got some notes to catch up on. Watch this. 4 times x is 4x. 1 times 100 is 100. Let's get x by itself by dividing by 4. X is 25%. So I turn 1/4 the fraction into a percent. It's 25%. Cool. Let's turn 1/4 into a decimal. How would I turn 1/4 into a decimal? You just saying it, but how did you do that? That's my question. Right here, just put 25 on. That's one way. I like that. Here's another way. Excuse me, I'm talking, gentlemen. Thank you. Awesome. I'm still talking. I don't care what you're talking about. I have the floor. No talking. Remember, that's what the video went over. Awesome. This morning. Watch this. 1 divided by 4 goes like this. Just do exactly what the fraction says it do. Look at 1 divided by 4. Watch this. Watch this. So let's see. 4 goes into 1. Put a decimal there. Because 1.0 means 1. Look at. So 4 goes into 1 0 times. Put the decimal here. Does 4 go into 10? Yeah. How many times? 2. Nice. 4 times 2, remember junior high or middle school days? 4 times 2 is 8. You subtract now, right? What's 10 minus 8? 2. Bring down another 0, right? So it's 20 right here. How many times is 4 to go into 20? 5 times done. 4 times 5 is 20. Goes in evenly. So look at, here's your decimal. 0.25. That makes sense too, huh? Look at the 5s in the 100th place. What's 25 hundredths? Well, that's 25%. Well, what's 25%? Oh, it's 1/4. So it means the same thing. Bad. Next one. Watch this now. We're not done yet. 2 minutes. Hold up. Okay, next time just stay there while I have the floor though. Thank you. Let's see, so that was fractions to decimals and percents. Now watch this now. Go to write decimals. Go to write to percents and to fractions. This Friday's test, you're going to have to, I'm going to throw anything at you, you're going to have to know how to convert from one to another. We're going to get it right once and for all. I'm sick of high schoolers not knowing how to deal with percents, fractions, decimals. I'm done with it. Let's convert the decimal 0.75 into percent. Okay, so 0.75, that's a decimal. Let's convert it to a percent first. Okay. Remember how decimals are code language for fractions? Look at that look at the hundreds place. Hold on. Look at the hundreds place because that's what percent means. Percent means out of 100. So this is really 75 out of 100, which means literally 75%. Done. Just look for whatever number's in the hundreds place, and that's your percent. How about a fraction? Well, I just got done telling you that decimals are code language for fractions. So here's 75 out of 100. There's your fraction. But it's bad manners mathematically not to leave a fraction unsimplified. So 75 to 100, we got to reduce it. Anytime you're able to reduce a fraction, reduce it because it's bad manners. It's like chewing with your mouth open or farting at the table. It's bad manners mathematically. So 75 over 100, let's chop it down. Let's take out a factor that both 75 and 100 share. What would that be? Higher. 25 on. 75 divided by 25? 2. And 100 divided by 25. Let's see what happens. That becomes 3, my numerator, and the denominator becomes 4. So here's your fraction, 3/4. So we went from decimals to percent, to decimals to fractions. I'll see you guys in 15 minutes. If you're past 11:05, you don't get that third stamp. I'll come around and give you your second stamp when you get back.